My name is Alex, a final-year journalism student. I was producing a podcast series called The Unvarnished Truth, specializing in debunking myths and superstitions across America. And there is no myth bigger than the Mothman. I arrived in Point Pleasant on a gloomy autumn afternoon. I skipped the colorful souvenir shops and went straight to what I considered the heart of the story, the Silver Bridge Collapse Memorial. I stood there on the bank of the gray Ohio River looking at the granite slab engraved with the names of the 46 victims. The air here was heavy with an undeniable sadness. I turned on my professional audio recorder. "I'm standing where the tragedy occurred," I whispered into the microphone, my voice professional. "They say the Mothman appeared here as an omen. But for the 46 families who lost their loved ones, this is not a legend. This is real pain." I stayed for a long time, recording the sound of the wind whistling through the new bridge, the waves lapping at the shore. I could feel the sorrow of this place, and I treated it with respect. I had no idea it was the only right thing I would do on this entire trip. That night at my motel, I listened back to the recording. The audio was crystal clear, but it was missing something. It lacked drama, a personal experience. I realized that for my podcast to have real weight, I couldn't just be an observer from afar. I had to get closer. I had to go to its nest. I had to go to the TNT Area. At night, ignoring everyone's warnings, I drove to the edge of the TNT Area as the clock struck midnight. I parked my car, climbed over the rusty barbed wire fence. The air inside was suffocating and eerily silent. I turned on my headlamp and started walking, my microphone still recording every sound. "I'm here," I whispered, my voice trembling slightly. "Inside the TNT Area. It's completely quiet, not a single animal sound. The air is very heavy. The old concrete bunkers emerged in my light, looking like giant sleeping skulls. The feeling of being watched grew stronger with every step. And then, I heard it. A screech. A high-frequency screech, like radio interference coming from deep within the area. It startled me, but my journalistic curiosity took over. I moved towards the sound. I arrived in front of a particularly large bunker. Its entrance a deep, black pit. The screeching seemed to be coming from inside. I was tiptoeing closer when a loud boom erupted from right above my head. A shower of dust and small pebbles rained down on me, as if something massive had just shifted its weight on the roof of the bunker. I frantically shone my flashlight up. Nothing, just a moss-covered concrete roof. My heart was pounding. I knew I was no longer alone. "Okay, that's enough," I muttered and decided to turn back. I had enough scary audio for my podcast. I hastily turned around, walking quickly back the way I came. But after a few steps, I heard another sound from behind me. The sound of two large, leathery wings unfolding, a heavy, rustling sound. And I made a fatal mistake. A mistake that all the legends had warned against. I looked back. It was standing on the roof of the bunker, a giant dark silhouette against the night sky. I couldn't see details, only the shape of a large torso and a pair of enormous wings like those of a moth. And then 2 points of light ignited in its featureless head. 2 brilliant red points of light, 2 eyes. They weren't looking at me. They were staring into me, boring into me. I knew the legend said not to look into those eyes, but I am a journalist. I needed proof. I raised my phone trying to take a picture, and I stared directly into them. In that exact moment, the world around me dissolved. The sounds of the night, the wind, everything went silent, replaced by a high-frequency, piercing, ringing sound that felt like it was tearing my eardrums apart. My vision narrowed, leaving only those 2 glowing red eyes growing larger and larger, as if they were about to swallow me whole. And in my mind, images began to flash. I saw a steel bridge groaning, twisting, I heard the sound of metal snapping, the screams of dozens of people. I felt the free fall, and then the cold of the black water rushing in, crushing everything. An overwhelming sense of terror, despair, and pain that was not my own, but that of 46 other souls was flooding my mind. The creature shrieked, the same metallic, distorted screech I had heard before. The sound, though terrifying, was like an electric shock that snapped me out of the trance. I screamed, dropping both my phone and my recorder. I didn't care about the proof anymore. I just ran. I ran for my life through the woods, not following any trail, branches whipping at my face. Behind me, I could hear the heavy beat of massive wings following me. I don't know how long I ran. When I collapsed from exhaustion, I was outside the forbidden zone. I limped back to my car and drove away like a madman. When I got back to my motel, I finally realized how much I was shaking. I huddled in the room with all the lights on. The panic attack hit. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw the image of the bridge collapsing. I heard the screams. Those red eyes hadn't just shown me a monster. They had forced me to experience the entire tragedy. I had gone looking for a story, but instead I had become a part of it. I knew I couldn't make this podcast anymore. How could I turn the ultimate suffering of 46 people into an entertainment show? How could I ever explain what I saw in those eyes without being called a lunatic? A few weeks later, I was back home. My expensive recording equipment was still in its bag, untouched. I hadn't listened to the recording. I didn't dare. That night, I sat in my room staring at the tiny memory card. My proof was in there, the screech, the wing beats, and perhaps my own screams, but I didn't listen to it. I took the memory card out. With a single decisive motion, I snapped it in two and threw it in the trash. I didn't dare to listen to it again. Who knows if it was a curse or something else that would haunt me for the rest of my life if I ever dared to hear that horrible sound again.